Welcome back to Universal Disaster, the storyline that tackles the Time Hole saga located in Orlando, which is something I'm not going to be talking about in this video. I'm AJ, and this video will be about the side story, Universal Disaster Discovery. This tale will be more personal than the mainline installments, but a lot of traits from the Skynet duology are present here as well. As mentioned in the last video, the Universal one, not Mortal Kombat, this even takes place in between the two installments occurring throughout the early summer of 2009. I mentioned this before in the Girl Wars video, but I'll state it again. I was a misbehaved nightmare growing up. It wasn't as bad as my kindergarten years, but 3rd grade did have some issues here and there. Most notably, the lack of controlling my emotions. If I was in either a boring or quiet situation, my brain would randomly remember something I found funny and I would laugh hysterically about it. And on one night, that got me in deep trouble. It was in the middle of May and my mom was helping me with my math homework, or studying for a test that week. I don't remember. In hindsight, I'm guessing my mom had a really rough day at work, or she was agitated about something else. But she was not in the mood to deal with my shit. But at that moment, my brain decided to bring up a memory for me to laugh at. It was from the first part of the Fairly OddParents special, Wishology, where the fairies are turned into gumballs, and Cosmo decides to jump into a kid's mouth, who looks like Cole Weezer. Anyway, the kid starts chewing uncontrollably, all the while Cosmo is smiling from the inside as the kid blows him into a bubble. I couldn't keep a straight face, and began to burst out laughing at nothing. That was the final straw for my mom. She got up and began to block every kid's channel from the TV. She didn't stop at the living room. Everywhere, the bedrooms, the basement, our house's 3rd floor. All channels that only served entertainment programs were blocked. Nickelodeon, the Pacific Time Nickelodeon, Nicktoons, Cartoon Network, even Funimation. Yes, if you had Fios in 2009, you were able to watch Funimation dubbed anime for free. And because I lost all access to those channels, I lost access to a lot of Astro Soul contacts. I was pretty much grounded from them. The only channels I was able to watch during this period was Disney Channel, which I hated, Disney XD, which had nothing good on, Nick Jr. for my brother, Boomerang, which I never really cared for. So through the process of elimination, I was stuck with Discovery Kids, the channel that made me hate science and history. Discovery Kids, much like Boomerang, was deserted in the late 2000s. The last new show was in 2007, and the entire channel was on autopilot, airing the same shows on the same time slots day in and day out. The channel had 3 types of programming: Fake Nick Jr. with content like High Five, Paz, and Peep in the Big Wide World. Reality shows, or as the channel called them at DK, like Endurance, which was Survivor for kids, Flight 29 Down, which was Lost for kids, and Trading Spaces Boys vs. Girls, which was Trading Spaces for boys and girls. But the ones that were always on were the cartoons. These shows were my Sinister Six. Time Warp Trio was the only one I liked because it had an overarching story, and we had some of the books in my school. Tutenstein was okay, even though it was never on. Kenny the Shark was fine, but kind of boring. Grossology was a grosser version of Kim Possible, and The Future is Wild was barely on. But there was one show I forgot to mention, the one that broke me. Growing Up Creepy. The best way I could describe this show, think Invader Zim and the Addams Family, but with bugs. Now, I don't mind insects, but I hated everything about this show. The characters, the animation, good god, the animation. The fact that every episode ended with this dark cliffhanger that never got resolved. And I wouldn't be this upset had it not been for the fact that this show was on all the time. And remember what I said about the same shows being on the same time slots? That meant every morning I had to watch an episode of this show already being angry before going to school. I put myself in this position, and I could blame nobody for it. Little did I know, the lack of context made me a target for DK. From the little context AJ still had, they were warning him that Discovery Kids employees knew about his issues and saw it as a way to attack him, which he found it strange. No Astro Soul from that company could possibly be able to kill someone, even by accident. But if word was spreading quick, he had to scavenge whoever he had in a limited amount of time. So in the late 2000s, Cartoon Network did this really cool thing where you could watch every episode of all of their shows on their website for free, even Toonami. It was busted beyond belief. but it was really useful for somebody like AJ getting into some connections to his contacts, and the first person he jumped to was Sorry, though she looked very different from their last meetup in February. By this point, Transformers Animated Season 3 had started, and Sorry became one with the Allspark. Even though she was now a teenager with a robot form, she was underutilized a lot in the season. She wasn't mad about it, she knew that the guys had to do more important stuff without her, but when she got this call, she was eager to help out. In late May, AJ was fully prepared for anything. No one from Discovery Kids was going to kill him, except for the fact that they decided to attack him from the top of his house. The only worthwhile contact that was there was Sorry, so she was the only person enrolled to fight both Tut and Kenny, the only two people that showed up. However, they did give AJ the message that Creepy was waiting for him in his room. He was furious. The theory of Creepy being the one who started this whole ordeal had to be intentional since he saw her show the most. He ran upstairs, bust open the door, ready to fight Raven. Following the production of Teen Titans, which concluded in 2006, Beast Boy, Robin, and Starfire continued their duties as Titans, Cyborg was promoted to the Justice League, and Raven was on her own. She wanted to try expanding her horizons and leaving the Warner alignment for the time being. She came across a small company in the Viacom alignment that seemed highly ambitious in making a name for themselves, but their power, especially compared to Nick, Disney, and Cartoon Network, was baffling. So, Raven decided to use her strong magic skills to help out Discovery Kids and create the entertainment rights for Growing Up Creepy while masking as the titular role. Everyone was astonished, electing her as the leader of the group, making Raven more active in both alignments, albeit using an alias for one of them. And that's why there was no new content for the channel since 2007, because Raven forbid it. Why was she attacking AJ? Well, she heard what happened during the Girl Wars, shameless plug, and decided to kill him at the best possible chance. She understood that he could be a dangerous target, especially when it came to other people, so killing him when he was the most vulnerable seemed like the best opportunity. AJ, rightfully angry about this bizarre accusation, began to fight Raven, though he believed he killed her in the end. By stabbing her and watching her fall from the second story of his house, she only escaped. A couple of weeks go by and he's still grounded from his contacts, but he gets a call once again that Discovery Kids is out to kill him. This time it was Ty and Abby from Grossology, but something was strange about it. They did have a small skirmish, but from what he saw, the equipment they were carrying seemed way too high-tech for them. Turns out, it was Skynet technology. Now, Sammy is a very private person, so when he hears that some of his weapons were stolen, he offered his assistance to get his work pieces back. Kind of strange, since remember this is a side story that takes place in between Universal Disaster 1 and 2. In early June, him and Sammy teamed up to take back the stolen Skynet property and take out Ty and Abby. Well, when I meant both of them, I meant Sammy punched Ty so hard that Abby immediately forfeits. Okay, now I'm safe from any harm from these bastards. Nope! 2 weeks later, Raven returns again, now with more men. A lot of people from the Discovery Kids company began to feel more confident in their fighting skills. Great! At this point, I could not keep up, nor could I stand it. It got to the point where, during a skirmish while he was returning home from school, AJ badly scrapped his leg. As he was sitting on the computer, he noticed that the Discovery Kids logo looked familiar. It was mostly similar to how the logo was animated for Universal Hollywood. Again, the reason why he was researching Universal stuff was because he was preparing for Universal Disaster 2 the next year. And that's when it all clicked. AJ got help from both Sorry and Sammy and effectively pushed DK back because of their Universal ties. If he recruited more people from the parks, there might be a chance. That night, the final battle took place at Universal Hollywood grounds. It was a mix of sharks, mummies, dinosaurs, robots, onions,
layers!
But AJ's target was solely on Raven. It was a fierce battle located in the New York portion of the studio tour. Raven fell, but she didn't want a 9-year-old to kill her. So, she promised that she would stop attacking him before using the pyrotechnics and set pieces around her to kill her and crush her. Or maybe not. Maybe she disappeared. Who knows? A few days later, I promised my mom I will behave and the block was lifted. While Discovery Kids was on repeat, it wasn't my only source for entertainment anymore. And in 2010, I heard the best news ever. Discovery would rebrand their kids channel into The Hub on October 10th. these horrible shows would never hurt anyone my age again, because the Hub finally aired new shows. Most of them were bad, but it had acquired other shows for syndication, such as Atomic Betty, a former ally in the Girl Wars, lots of Kids WB content like Animaniacs, Men in Black, Batman Beyond, even Fraggle Rock of all things. The Hub gave us Dan Versus. I know a lot of people say that this show is a cult classic, but I remember watching a few episodes when they aired, so I have the real right to say it was a cult classic. And Hasbro supplied the channel with new shows based on their toy lines, G.I. Joe, Transformers, and My Little Pony. But in the end, I was relieved that Discovery Kids was gone. Raven's temporary rule was officially gone and it will never come back. No more would it be run by a woman who likes purple and has telekinetic powers. In her place was a woman who likes purple and has telekinetic powers. Some things never change. That was Universal Disaster Discovery, a fun side story that does loosely tie into the mainline series. We're done with the Skynet duology from the last video, and now we're going to be moving into the trilogy to wrap up the original series. If you liked my rambles about an extinct TV channel, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. With that, I'm AJ, and I'll see you all in the next one.